Welcome to Video Bites. Our goal is to acknowledge, appreciate, and showcase the talents of teachers and staff in the form of bite-sized videos. Thanks for watching.
Hi, welcome to Video Bites. I'm Neha, and today we're here with Mrs. Peacher, who teaches English 7. Mrs. Peacher has been at Basis Scottsdale for 5 years, and before coming to Basis, she's taught at the University of Massachusetts in Boston, a local community college, and abroad in countries like Ecuador and Turkey. Some of her hobbies outside of school include spending time with her family, cooking, reading, hiking, biking, and traveling. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Mrs. Peacher.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I just have a few questions for you. First of all, who or what inspired you to study English?
I don't know that I had any one particular person or moment that made me be interested in studying English. I was a reader for my whole life. I just loved it. When I was a kid, I would go to the library and take out a giant stack of books and max out my card every single time. And as I got to be older, English was just something that was interesting to me. I loved to write. Embarrassingly, I wrote my own poems and songs and things like that when I was a teenager. And as I got to be older, it became something that I was interested in terms of the mechanics behind it, and went on to study English linguistics and become more interested in the language itself, as in addition to things like the writing and the reading that would go along with it in classes.
So who was your favorite teacher in high school or college, and why?
In high school and in my bachelor's degree, I didn't really have a teacher necessarily that jumps out into my mind. When I went on to study my master's degree and had settled on studying English linguistics, my professor there, Margie Burns, who worked with me on my thesis, was a wonderful influence in getting me to really think about not only the way that we acquire language, but in fact how it can show something about our culture and the way in which we represent ourselves through the language. And I studied the Englishes of the world, which is kind of a funny thing to think of, but beyond British English and American English, how other countries acquire English and use it in their communities as well.
Okay, so what's your favorite topic to teach in your English classes?
I actually really love to teach the grammar, which is not usually, I suppose, the answer that people give. Most people love to teach literature and study the books or do something like that. But having spent so much time studying English as a language itself, and then teaching it a lot of the time to people who spoke English as a second language, I spent a lot of time digging into it and trying to figure out how to make it more systematic, even though English has so many different exceptions to it. And so I find it really rewarding to teach the kids grammar and hopefully get them a little bit more interested in it than they have typically been, and find some ways to make it fun and interesting for them.
I'm sure that your students enjoy learning grammar from you too. So what was one of the funniest or most memorable moments that you've had in a class that you teach?
It's hard to narrow it down. I've taught fourth graders and seventh graders, and they're all hilarious in their own way. I don't want to call any one person out and embarrass them, but I hope that the kids that I've taught in the past will have something that comes to mind there, because I have lots of fun memories from teaching them as well.
Okay, so just one last question. Who is your favorite author or writer, and why?
That's hard. I guess it depends on the purpose for which I'm reading. I actually really love mysteries, and I've read those my whole life. There's an author named Louise Penny that I love right now, who's got a character who's just very thoughtful and compassionate, and much more much deeper than you would imagine a mystery detective would be. That would definitely be an author that I would recommend. If I'm going for classics, I'm always a sucker for a good Jane Austen novel. I love Shakespeare. Some of the trite answers come to mind of an English teacher, but really I just love getting new recommendations. I'm always happy to read a book that somebody recommends to me as well. So I'm always open to new favorites.
So I think we're pretty much done here. Thank you so much for joining this call and letting us interview you.
You're welcome. It's nice to talk to you.
To watch more content like this, check out videobytes.org.